In the immediate aftermath of July 4th, it is beyond tragic for me to reflect that many of the symbols and signs of America, the American flag, the national anthem, the things that represent the 4th of July, have now ceased to be the common property, the common heritage of the whole of America. And what that means is that today, if you stand up and wave the flag, there's a bunch of people who won't like it. They think it's, the flag represents racism. Or if you, at a game or in a public ceremony, play the national anthem, someone sings it, you have a bunch of people who sit down or turn away or take a knee. And once again, they are rejecting these once shared symbols of Americana. It's no longer an American flag in a sense, it's our flag. It's not their flag. They don't want it. It's no longer the national anthem, it's our anthem. It's not their anthem. They don't want to sing it. We can't make them. Now there's an interesting article in the tradition of critical race theory, in the spirit of the so-called 1619 Project, on Frederick Douglass. And the article says, titled, "Frederick Douglass had nothing but scorn for July 4th. The black abolitionist spoke for the enslaved." This is by Jillian Brockle in the Washington Post. And she's recalling an event on the 4th of July, 1852, when Frederick Douglass was speaking to the Rochester Ladies Anti-Slavery Society. And it is true, Douglass began with some savage questioning of the founding. I'm going to read you a few lines by Douglass that suggest how vehement he was. "This 4th of July is yours, not mine. You may rejoice, I must mourn. To drag a man in fetters into the grand illuminated temple of liberty and call upon him to join you in joyous anthems were inhuman mockery and sacrilegious irony. Do you mean, citizens, to mock me by asking me to speak today?" And then a couple more lines. "What to the American slave is your 4th of July? I answer, a day that reveals to him more than all other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham, your boasted liberty an unholy license, your national greatness swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless, your denunciation of tyrants brass-fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality hollow mockery." And then he goes on, "There is not a nation on earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour." So you may say a full-throated denunciation of American slavery. But that's kind of where the article ends. What the article leaves out is how Frederick Douglass came out on this. And where Frederick Douglass came out on this is the exact opposite as the 1619 people, the critical race theory people. Frederick Douglass came out of this by, at the end of the speech, talking about the American founding and the American Constitution. And he says, and I'll quote, he goes, "The Constitution is a glorious liberty document. In that instrument, there is neither warrant, license, nor sanction of the hateful thing." He means slavery. And he goes on to say, "Abolish slavery tomorrow, and not a sentence or syllable of the Constitution needs to be altered." This is Frederick Douglass. He goes on to say that the Constitution is an anti-slavery charter. And now I'm quoting him, "Slavery was, quote, the mere scaffolding to the magnificent structure to be removed as soon as the building was completed." And then he says that the Constitution delivers, quote, "the deadliest blow upon slavery that can be given at a particular time." He goes on to say, "I do not despair of this country. There are forces in operation which must inevitably work the downfall of slavery. And what he means is that it's the founding itself that has set those forces into motion. Now, I notice that this whole side of Frederick Douglass, you may say the patriotic side, the affirmation of the founding and the Constitution as anti-slavery documents, is all left out of the Washington Post article, and I want to tell you why. It's because in America there are sort of two traditions. There is the long history of oppression, but there is also an emancipatory tradition. Any balanced history would try to teach both, would actually try to show what were the forces that not only created slavery in America. Let's remember slavery was imported to these lands by the British, but also what were the forces that generated anti-slavery. But the key to the 1619 Project, the big lie of critical race theory, is to eliminate the second tradition, eliminate the emancipatory tradition, focus only on the oppression tradition. So in other words, that's why they want to go back to 1619, because they want to find American oppression, quote, in the womb. It's part of the American DNA. There's a kind of uninterrupted tradition of crimes visited upon one minority after another. The emancipatory side is downplayed, or if not ignored altogether. Hardly any mention of Lincoln, hardly any mention of Sojourner Truth or Frederick Douglass or Martin Luther King. It is oppression, oppression all the time. So what we're seeing here is that the argument is not over whether to teach about race and slavery. Because the left goes, wait a minute, they're trying to stop us from teaching about race and slavery. Nonsense. No one's trying to do that. The issue is how you teach about race and slavery. Are you actually offering the full picture, or are you, as in this article, presenting one half of the story and leaving the other equally vital half out?